Happy Victory Monday, Ravens fans. Welcome in to another edition of the Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, it is Overreaction Monday, where we will scour the internet and see what the folks had to say about the Ravens win against the Carolina Panthers. Also, going to run through the injury updates after that win against Carolina as well. We'll dive into all of that and more in just a few moments from right now. Before we do, one of the things that we love to do when your favorite team wins here at Chat Sports is celebrating by subbing for Dubs. If you loved that win, can't think of a better way to celebrate than to sub for Dubs. We are closing in on 8,000 subscribers here on the Ravens Rundown, but we need your help to get there. So make sure you're subscribed and all your fellow Ravens fans are also subscribed so they never miss a moment of the latest Baltimore Ravens news and rumors and more right here on the channel. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/RavensTV. Let's start with the injury updates. And both of these were pretty positive for the Ravens with Ronnie Stanley and Kyle Hamilton. Starting out with Ronnie Stanley, left the game with an ankle injury. Lamar Jackson said it was his fault and that he felt bad, but that Ronnie Stanley told him he was going to be okay. And it's the same ankle, this is where things get a little dicey, that Ronnie Stanley broke back in 2020. Now, here's what Harbaugh had to say about Stanley and Hamilton. Same thing can be said for both. That they weren't serious for either player. That both guys are trending in the right direction when it comes to these injuries that they suffered. Both left the game in the third quarter, but it looks like things are okay for both of these guys. So that is good news. And, you know, when we talk about the Ravens and injuries, with how many injuries they've dealt with over the last 2 years, we all kind of just pause for a second, right? You know, kind of gasp for a second, like, oh, what's going on here? But knowing what we know now, it seems like things are okay with these guys. If we get any more updates to the contrary, whatever it may be, we will let you know. In the meantime, what's your level of concern with Stanley and Hamilton's injuries? Sounds like things are okay. They seem to be fine. If you're concerned, I understand based on the way things have gone the last couple of years. Believe me, I get you if you're there. What's your level of concern with these injuries right now? Scale it for me, 1 through 10, your level of concern with Ronnie Stanley and Kyle Hamilton. So let's go to Overreaction Monday, and let's begin with the defense. And I got to tell you, the reaction I saw, a lot of people say, and for me, this one I don't think is an overreaction, that this is the old school Baltimore Ravens defense returning, that these guys are back to playing the Ravens football that we all know and love, that got them through the 2000s and some great years of Ravens football. It certainly appeared to be that way with that performance against Carolina. You look at the top performers of what they were able to put together this week. You know, Patrick Queen was terrific with 12 tackles and half a sack and tackle for loss. Roquan Smith had 7 tackles. He also had a sack and 1 tackle for loss. Remember, he's barely even played for this defense that long. Only been around the team, 2 or 3 weeks since that trade at the trade deadline. JPP had his best game as a Raven. Found the fountain of youth with 2 tackles, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and an interception. And then there's Marlon Humphrey, the Ravens' top cornerback. And we were all wondering what Marlon Humphrey the Ravens were going to get this year. And Marlon Humphrey has really played well, especially as of late, with 2 tackles and an interception. And he's looking like one of those top cornerbacks in the league once again. And think about this, too. With all those guys playing well, with the Ravens holding Carolina to 3 points, and I know some folks are going to say, well, it's Carolina. You know, they aren't that great of an offense. It doesn't matter. This is the National Football League. You hold anybody to 3 points, you are making a statement. Here's the thing. With as good as the defense is coming along and played together the last couple of weeks, they're still doing this without Marcus Williams. Marcus Williams is going to be back, it looks like, before the postseason. So if you think this defense is good right now, just wait. It's going to get even better. So with that said, there's a number of guys that you can answer this question, and it would be the correct answer. Who is the Ravens' best defensive player? I don't think there's a wrong answer to this question right now based on what we've seen of whether it's one day it's Marlon Humphrey or Marcus Williams looked like that guy before he got hurt. Now you add in Roquan Smith to the mix. Patrick Queen has been awesome as of late as well. Queen is I believe he's the only off-ball linebacker in the league with 2 sacks and 2 interceptions this year. Just awesome what they've been able to do. Who's the Ravens' best defensive player right now? Tell me in the comments section who that is. Give me one name, who the best Ravens defensive player is. Today's show is sponsored by Established Titles. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Eddleston, Scotland, with an official certificate with a crest. We plant a tree with every order and work with global charities, One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future, to support global reforestation efforts. You could officially include the title Lord or Lady on your credit card, plane tickets, dating profiles, and more. It makes for a great last-minute gift. The first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will be effectively next to my plot within a few minutes of walking distance. Depending on how many of you want to become a Lord or a Lady, we can build our own Ravens Rundown Kingdom together. Established Titles is actually running a massive early Black Friday sale right now with discounts up to 80% off. Plus, if you use the promo code CHAT, you'll get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/chat to get your gifts now and help support us here at the Ravens Rundown. That's establishedtitles.com/chat for that extra 10% off for the holiday savings. All right, a couple more overreactions to get to. Let's talk about Demarcus Robinson now. And is he the answer at wide receiver? People are talking. And you got to give D-Rob credit. D-Rob was awesome yesterday. Despite the offense not playing that well, Demarcus Robinson stepped up and answered the call with 9 catches for 128 yards receiving. And I like D-Rob, but I'll say this much. Trying to depend on him, I think, every given week is not a good recipe, okay? Look at, back to that Saints game. 1 catch for 12 yards. The Bucs game, he was solid. 6 catches, 64 yards. The Giants game, 3 catches, 27 yards. And the Bengals game, 1 catch for 8 yards. As you can see, the trend, it's up and down for Demarcus Robinson. There's not consistency with this guy. It's been that way his entire career, dating back to Kansas City. And here's the deal. There's a reason why the Raiders moved on from Demarcus Robinson. So, yes, I like D-Rob. I do. We've seen what he can do when he plays at his full potential. He can be a really good receiver. But he's so in and out here. I'm not ready to say that this is the solution for Lamar Jackson in this passing game. He's getting the ball to Demarcus Robinson more because the Ravens are trying to use him. Some days he's on, some days he's not. He just kind of goes in and out and disappears. So for me, I'm not banking on Demarcus Robinson personally. I like the guy, but being your number 2 receiver potentially, that's a bridge too far for me. So, D-Rob, are you buying or selling that he could be the solution, the answer for this team? To me, that seems like a reach, but I do like what I saw yesterday. Hopefully we do see more of that, but I'm not willing to get on that bridge and go all in on Demarcus Robinson myself. Let me know in the comment section. Type B for buy, type S for sell if you're buying into Demarcus Robinson or not. B for buy, S for sell. Last one here on Overreaction Monday. Let's talk about the playoff picture now. And I was looking around, and there were some people talking. I believe CBS Sports said they feel like the Ravens could end up as the number 1 seed in the AFC. Now, that's interesting because what we've talked about on this channel for the longest time when it comes to the playoffs was just winning the division and trying to work everything out from there. And it looks like the Ravens are in the driver's seat when it comes to winning the AFC North. So maybe we can further along that discussion of the playoff picture. Kansas City is your number 1 seed in the AFC right now with an 8-2 record. And then you have the Dolphins, Titans, and Ravens all at 7-3. And based on the way tiebreakers and all of that are at right now. The Ravens would be the 4 of that bunch, but you can see, obviously, they're tied for that second-best record. That just puts them a game back at Kansas City at this point. And then you look at the wild card of the 3 teams behind that. They're all right there. The Bills at 7-3, same division, of course, as the Dolphins. The Patriots and the Bengals, both at 6-4, hold the number 6 and 7 seeds at this point. So let's go back to the top 4 here for a second. And here's the thing, okay? Yeah, I mean, they could win the 1 seed, but it's going to be very tough. That Kansas City team has figured a lot of things out. And, I mean, you look at that Chargers game last night that they played in. The Chargers had every opportunity to win that game, and Patrick Mahomes still found a way to win and come through in the final stretch. To me, it's going to be hard to imagine anyone not named Kansas City getting that number 1 seed at this point in time. The thing that I will say for the Ravens, to their advantage compared to these other teams competing for that number 1 seed, the Ravens have the easiest schedule in the league left at this point. So that helps. So I look at that for Baltimore. I think it's going to be tough to try to keep track with Kansas City with the way they're playing and coming together. But the schedule, that certainly favors the Ravens. So we'll see. I don't think they'll be the number 1 seed, but I do think the Ravens could find their way to be that number 2 seed for sure. But Kansas City is going to be really tough to try to take down for that number 1 spot. Who gets the number 1 seed in the AFC? Will it be your Baltimore Ravens? Can they get it done and be the number 1 overall seed in the American Football Conference? If you think they can, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Let me know in the comments section if you think the Ravens will be the number 1 seed or not. As always, you can interact with me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Baltimore Ravens on those social media platforms. And I'll see you next time here on the Ravens Rundown.